There is a kind of guilt that doesn't follow wrongdoing. It doesn't come after you hurt someone. It doesn't arise from violating your own values. It doesn't begin with a clear mistake. It simply appears. A heaviness in your chest, a tightening in your throat, a rush in your head like you're in trouble. Nothing happened, no accusation, no clear rupture, no evidence. And yet your body moves into apology. This is not always conscience. Sometimes it is conditioning inside a relational atmosphere that trained you to self-correct before evaluating. The body registers before the mind understands. Installed guilt is somatic. It feels like a stone pressing on your chest, difficulty taking full breaths, an urge to explain yourself immediately, searching for what you did wrong, fear of having disrupted connection. The body doesn't ask for proof. It moves toward repair. That reflex didn't appear randomly. It was learned. How guilt becomes structural. In some relational systems, tension is never addressed directly. Instead of open conflict, you experience tone shifts, withdrawal, silence, subtle disappointment, moral undertones that are implied but not spoken. Nothing clear enough to confront, but enough to create self-surveillance. Over time, your nervous system adapts. It learns, if something feels off, it must be me. If connection wavers, I caused it. If there is discomfort in the room, I must fix it. Guilt becomes preventative. You apologize before you evaluate. You correct yourself before anyone accuses you. You carry responsibility for emotional climates that were never yours to regulate. When this happens repeatedly over years, guilt stops being an emotion. It becomes an organizing principle. That is when it shifts from reaction to structure. The internal watcher. If you notice that you pre-correct yourself, manage your tone, soften your opinions, rehearse explanations, that is often the internalization of relational pressure. The system no longer has to accuse you. You anticipate it. Installed guilt turns self-blame into a containment mechanism that shields predatory extraction from being confronted. It protects the predator's access and prevents rupture of the captivity structure. You stay compliant. You stay careful. You stay quiet. And the architecture remains unexamined. We'll talk more about how systems form over time. For now, just notice, if guilt arrives without evidence, pause. Accurate guilt versus installed guilt. Accurate guilt has clarity. You know what you did. You know why it matters. You can repair it. Installed guilt is diffuse. There is no specific action, no defined harm, no resolution after apology. It lingers because it was never about wrongdoing. It was about preserving connection at any cost. Relief as data. One of the clearest indicators is this. When you step away from someone and the heaviness lifts, your breath deepens, your chest feels lighter, your thoughts feel like your own again. That is information. If guilt dissolves in absence, it may not be moral. It may be atmospheric. Your body is responding to pressure. The slow recognition. This series is about learning to trust what your body registers. Surveillance, installed guilt, freeze under withdrawal. Each layer reveals how relational environments shape the nervous system over time. We're not naming everything at once. We're noticing what the body already knows. The deeper architecture becomes clear gradually. For now, hold this. Not all guilt is truth. Sometimes the weight in your chest is not conscience. It is conditioning, and you are allowed to question it. You are allowed to return responsibility to where it belongs. You are allowed to breathe without apologizing for existing. Restore discernment through Jesus. Inside captivity, guilt was often planted in you. It attached to tone shifts. It attached to silence. It attached to someone else's discomfort. Over time, it felt like it was yours. But Jesus does not confuse implanted guilt with true conviction. He does not mistake atmospheric shame for sin, and he does not treat redistributed responsibility as moral failure. He knows the difference. True conviction is specific. It is clear. It leads to repair and then release. Implanted guilt is vague. It keeps you apologizing without resolution. It binds you to roles you were never meant to hold. When you bring guilt to him, he separates what belongs to you from what was placed on you. He restores discernment. He teaches you to ask, is this mine? Did I violate love? Or was this weight assigned to keep a system stable and a predator from being exposed? He does not ask you to keep what was never yours to carry. Resurrection includes the freedom to lay down false guilt. You are not required to repent for surviving. You are not required to carry what was installed. You are not required to confuse control with conscience. He knows the difference, and he sets you free from what was never yours.